It's just us for now. That's okay. We'll wait a little
What?
bit. I said we're the only ones in here right now.
Okay, good.
So we'll wait a little bit.
Okay. And maybe they'll watch it later. So
The 10:30 by the throne. Oh well.
yeah. Sorry about that. I forgot all about that. I was more worried about the meeting at 11:30. I thought, oh yeah, I'll get here in time.
Okay. I guess we can kind of start with a little recap of what we've done so far.
Okay.
So if you've not watched one of these yet, I'm Emily from downtown West Allis, and on my right is Dianne Eidichner, the executive director of downtown West Allis. And because of COVID and people kind of all over the board on if they want to meet in person or not, we decided to do our town hall virtually this year in 4 parts. So this is part 3 of 4. And each week we have discussed a different part of the organization. So the first week we started with a general overview of the program as a whole, as well as our Friends of West Allis Downtown program. And then last week we talked about the promotions committee, which is the events. And today we are talking about design. So we will get into that with a PowerPoint. If you hop on while we're presenting, that's fine. If you got any questions, just blurt them out. We'll try to answer them as best as we can. So let me share the screen and we can get started. So yes, we're talking about design committee today.
Right. So what Emily was talking a little bit about in her opening, we are a Main Street community. We discussed this at prior Zoom meetings, and they have a 4-point approach, four different committees that there are 4 different topics, I guess, that they would like us to address. So one was promotions, what we did last time, and this week is design. So just something that I don't know if I've said it before, but each month I have to let Main Street know what we're doing down here in the way of promotions, design, economic development, and of course marketing. So what is design? Design is anything that focuses on the outside area. So whether it is your facade, your signage, sidewalk, walkability, flowers, banners, parking lots, all of that has to do with the beautification of the downtown. So it could be the bike racks, it could be the brick planters. It's anything that people can basically see and making it just a friendly, warm, welcoming area. We do have somebody. Did you want me to talk about that first with Main Street or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, I guess just what the objectives of the organization.
Yeah.
It's to pretty much to have steady is the word I guess I'm looking for, guidelines, consistent guidelines that in regards to the aesthetics of the building, the signage on the building, and one of the big things Main Street is an advocate for is the preservation of historic buildings. So, which I guess we can get into then a little bit in the next slide.
Sure. I just want to say that this committee is chaired by Chet Parker. He is a citizen. He used to own a business down here. So again, that is a volunteer position. The committee is all volunteer. And basically, yeah, that's about what I have to say. Yeah.
So then there are different projects we work on as the design committee. One of the most recent ones was working with the city of West Allis on updating the sign ordinance to allow electronic message board signs and kind of meeting halfway on that. We provide design technical assistance to business and property owners, and a lot of that comes through Wisconsin Main Street. Graffiti removal, we work with the West Allis Police Department and their graffiti abatement program. We have a signage assistance grant that we will talk about as well. We maintain the 34 brick planters in the downtown. We make sure that the streets are clean. We deal with snow removal in the winter, improving the technology on the street, as well as creating more programs in public art.
So if a property owner new, or they've been here a while and they are interested in updating their facade, there is just a simple application that can be filled out, and the team in Madison will do some historical background. They'll do some investigation on what this building looked like and what it could look like for future. So this is just a building. I don't know if you know where Catholic Books is, Diane's design. So this is a recent, this property owner recently purchased this building and asked for a facade rendering. So that was given to the new property owner. I don't know where we are on that, but it's at least a starting point to give the new owners a goal, basically, and maybe just what could be here at this location. So that's something that we kind of facilitate between the property owner and Main Street.
And the person who does these, his name is Joe Lozniak with Wisconsin Main Street, and something that he's really big on is like how modern can you go by still keeping it historic. So if you notice on the rendering here, it still has the wood on the side, it still has kind of the brick and the pillars, but it's cleaned up. And also the committee has a network of architects, signage companies, trash removal companies, all kinds of things that if anyone is looking for those services, they can contact our committee or the staff here. As far as signage companies go, we cannot, and we'll get into that with the signage grant, but we cannot say, oh yeah, use this company. But we can say, oh, if you like Cook sign, this is who did it. If you like avant-garde sign, this is who did it, to get you in touch with them.
So the Signage Assistant Grant Program, it was started a few years ago. The city of West Allis, through a fund called Fire Money, I forget what that stands for.
Yeah.
But anyways, through them, we were able to get some funds with the criteria that our businesses think outside the box. Just having, first of all, flat signs are not allowed in West Allis. You've got to have some dimension. You've got to have the letters have to be raised or whatever. But thinking farther than that, thinking, what else could happen? And Emily did a good picture here of avant-garde. As you can see, the letters are raised on the facade, on the building.
Unfortunately, there's a lamppost.
Yeah, there's a lamppost kind of in the way, but also the windows. And normally we do not, the grant does not cover window signage, but this was unique. This was something because of the business, they needed the privacy. But I'm gonna go back and forth. Another thing that you can't do is you can only have 20% of your windows can be covered in sign. So you can see that these are covered. But he was thinking outside the box. He needed privacy for the type of business, and he was able to do it with what you see here. So we did work with Brent on the signage, and he received a grant from us. So right now we are working with probably a handful of other businesses down here that are looking for signage for their building because they recently moved in or they want to update it and whatever. We, like Emily said, we can't say, oh, you have to go to this person. But if you walk the avenue, they might say, oh, I kind of like how this sign is. Who did this? We have that information. So that's about all we can really guide you into choosing who you want. Another thing is with the signage grant, and any signage I should say down here, whether you want the grant money or not, it has to be approved by the city. So the city has a planning commission, and they will oversee the signage if it's kind of detailed and different. So they will look it over and give their stamp of approval before we will. And sometimes we both work together at the same time. Maybe it's the size or the color or whatever that the commission doesn't like, and we don't like it either. So, and I should say we, meeting the committee, not Emily and I. So
I don't even sit in on those committees. So.
Right. So, anyways, that's just something that some people say, well, do I give it to the city first? Do I give it to you first? Kind of both at the same time, because we do have someone from the city sitting on our design committee.
Yep,
Erin, and she can, say, yeah, this is permitted, this isn't permitted, and blah blah blah. So, that's just another way that the city kind of work together, not them there and we're here. So, me or you?
I can do the brick planters.
Okay.
So the brick planters, so these were installed back when MATC used to have their masonry program over on 70th. So this was actually always their end of the year project for about 2-3 years.
Right.
They did it. They do like 2 blocks a year. And unfortunately, the masonry department moved to downtown, but that's okay.
Downtown Milwaukee.
Downtown Milwaukee, not downtown here. So there are 34 planters between Greenfield Avenue on 70th, between 70th and 76th on Greenfield Avenue. We had 36. Unfortunately, some got taken out by cars.
And we can't find, if anybody knows any mason that would be willing to tackle a project like this, we don't have a lot of money. We can pay for supplies, but yeah, to try and get those replaced, it has been hard for us. So.
Yeah. All of the planters are maintained by business owners, volunteers, and staff. So in the summer, you'll probably see business owners taking like a big bucket and dumping it on the planters. That's because each planter needs about 3 gallons of water every other day. We will start planting the flowers actually next Monday. This coming Monday. Our committee will, throughout the week, will be planting the flowers. We're still looking for volunteers to maintain the brick planters, especially some of the ones by City Hall. So if you are interested, reach out to us. We will assign you a planter to take care of.
So this is when we did our first Zoom meeting, we talked about the organization, and we said we have 3 employees. It's Emily, myself, and here's Joe. Joe is a retired gentleman that we first met. He would do odd jobs for businesses on the street.
Mostly shoveling
snow and stuff like that. So I approached him and I just said, hey, would you mind, would you be willing to do 10 hours a week, 10 to 15 hours a week, and help keep the avenues clean? Joe's a good guy. He's another.
We lucked out.
Yeah, he's very passionate. He takes it seriously. He'll report if he sees something that looks kind of fishy or questionable. But basically, starting probably this week, he has been tackling weeds, because it seems like that's the only thing that's growing these days is the weeds. They don't need a lot of water. So he's tackling the weeds that grow between the sidewalks or up against the buildings, in the parking lots behind the buildings. Then of course, cigarette, butts, has to pick that up, and trash. And then in the winter, we kind of, we adopt the fire hydrants here in the downtown, and he keeps those clean for us. So the fire department doesn't get on our case, which is fine. We understand. And so we keep those clean. And then our trash receptacles, and unfortunately, they have like a door that opens up and to get the bin out. And of course, if you have snow up against the door, you can't open it up. So that's basically what he does. So he puts in probably, I would say, 10 hours in the winter to weekend.
Okay, now that it's summer,
and now he's up to 15 because of the and then there's more people walking the avenue dropping trash and stuff like that. So Emily did put on here that we do have the trash receptacles. I believe there's at least one, if not 2, on each block, and those are picked up and cleaned by the sanitation crew for the city. and they usually come on a Thursday.
Yeah.
We try to discourage our businesses from using those. It's basically for our pedestrians and visitors, but that doesn't work all the time. Sometimes our businesses use that instead of getting a dumpster. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that.
Snow removal. This is the big one. This is what everybody likes. So we contract with a local guy, Don Doherty, with DLD Plowing. Per our contract, they only come out if there are 2 or more inches of snow. So this past year, he was out a lot because we had a lot of snow. What they are told or asked to do is to clear the crosswalks and the corners. And then they do 1 pass down the sidewalks, and they create 3 cut-throughs through the snow mounds per block. So business and property owners are still responsible for removing any of the remaining snow in front of their shop, as well as salting their sidewalks. I would also say removing the snow if you have a back entrance from there too, and salting that. As far as like the streets and the alleys and the parking lots, the City of West Allis Sanitation Department, they oversee the snow removal of the streets and the alleys, and the Forestry Department oversees the snow removal of the municipal lots. So that's not our guys that do the parking lots. Our guys do the sidewalks. So if you come to work one day and you need something plowed out, call those people.
So I'll do this. I'll do part of this, Emily. I guess. So here we go. Back in 2013, we worked with the city on getting Wi-Fi, security cameras, and a sound system in our downtown. At the time, we thought, hey, this is pretty cool. You know, look what we've got, right?
We're so tech.
Yeah, we're so tech. And then we find out that, you know, like everything, things get better. We have 6 hotspots on each intersection that was given to us. Our security cameras are at each intersection, and they do 360 cameras. So you can you pull up one camera and you can see north, south, east, west off that camera. In the sound system, again, is, I believe, 2 speakers at each intersection. So just to at the time, it was great. I can't say we have problems, but we're seeing things that, boy, I wish we had that. I wish we had that capability. So we've reached out to the IT department at City Hall, and just kind of, you know, what if we did this? What if this happened or whatever? So as you know, things take time, takes money. So we are, it's out there. It's not a project that I think we will be striving for 2021 or 2022 even. But we do know that what we have can be made better. And we know that in time, when we have our sidewalk, the city has a strategic plan, and they redo certain areas every 30 years or something like that. So we know that that's coming, that the sidewalks or the whole streetscape can be redone after so many years. So whether we try to do something and then have them come and do the streetscape, I don't know. So just the part of this, I should have said earlier too, a part of this is telling you what we've done in the last year and what we're looking to do for the upcoming year. That's part of this town hall meeting, is to let our members know that. So just to let you know that we do have Wi-Fi, we do have the cameras, and we do have the sound system. They're usable. They're there. Can they be better? Yes. And are we looking into making them better? Yes. Don't know when that's going to happen, but I just guess I wanted to let people know. I mean, ideally, the sound, it would be nice if we had music on the avenue during the day, every day, or like Christmas, having, you know, whatever. That can't happen right now. So we basically use it for events. We use it for our big events, our car show, or a la carte and whatever. But like I said, we've got stuff, but we know we can do better, and that's what we're going to look for.
So then, public art and other ideas that have been brought up over the years. So, if you look at that picture on the top right, that was our Walk Your Wheels stencils. We had a lot of business owners that were complaining that people are riding their bikes on the sidewalk. They're zipping past right when somebody's opening the door. It was very dangerous. And so we did put those to kind of deter people from doing that and encourage them to use the bike lanes. In 2019, we did our art bench project. I know 2 of those benches need to be redone, so we're hoping to do that this year. One of them, a business owner, actually is gonna take on, so that's kind of cool.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
I just don't mean to interrupt. It's what Emily's explaining is things that we have done. So even though like the art bench project and Walk Your Wheels, we still have to maintain those. So even though it's not a new project, like Emily said, we got 2 benches that need to be redone. So it's not like, oh, the project's done, we move on. No, there's still work that has to be done. It's the same thing with the brick planters, okay, now we got to decorate for Christmas. Now we got to decorate for, the summer or whatever. Just because the brick planters are here, the project is not done. It's always ongoing. So sorry, I just wanted to.
And in the upper left picture, so in 2019, we had Wisconsin Main Street actually host a workshop here in West Allis downtown. And what it was about the walkability of your community, the bike lanes and curb extensions and other things.
Well, the Padlets were a big one.
Oh yeah, Padlets. That's why they wanted to host it here, so people could see the Padlets.
Right.
For the outdoor dining. And so that picture up there is showing, like, we all stood that way to see how extending the curb 3-4 feet would slow traffic down.
Right.
Which is kind of what you want in the downtown. So we're kind of hoping to take the ideas we got from that workshop to when the street eventually gets redone. And then
a lot of that stuff is already done on National.
Yeah, a lot of it they did on National.
Yeah.
And then this year was the West Allis murals. That was actually by the city of West Allis. But Dianne sat on the committee to help pick the murals. So this is one in our downtown, the bunny mural.
West Allis resident,
yeah, that did that one.
Yep.
And then some perspective ideas that have been brought up was wrapping the electrical boxes with artwork. We saw that up in some Main Street one we went to.
Was it Rice Lake?
No, it was I want to say Manitowoc, but I know it's not Manitowoc.
Okay.
Maybe it was. I don't know. It was a college town.
Okay.
Whatever it was. And then, like Tony brought up last week, a banner over Greenfield Avenue to promote what's happening. Welcoming people. And then also painting the curbs for parking. So painting them red where you can't park was something that was brought up as well.
If I can just, before we go on to the next topic, something that's come across my desk in the last couple months is of the parking lots. So I was on a Zoom meeting with people at City Hall and art and designers and engineers and forestry and everybody else. 2 of the parking lots here in the downtown will be reconstructed, revamped, whatever. And I'm proud to say that I think they're going to be cool. They'll be different. So stay tuned for that.
Adding some green space.
Yeah, and some walkability again, and making them more eye appealing, because a majority of our people do use our municipal parking lots. Our majority of our customers, because it's 4 hours of free parking. So getting out of your car would be nice if they could see something. So like Emily was talking about too, about the trash enclosures and stuff like that. So it's not just Greenfield Avenue, it's also the alley, it's also the municipal parking lots, all of that stuff that we might not be responsible for, like she said, but we do get the opportunity to sit in on the meetings and kind of voice our opinions. So look for those 2 parking lots to start. I think they're going to start sometime in September for construction. So I just wanted to, because that just happened. Okay.
That's fine. So next week, We will be finishing things up with talking about economic development and organization. So economic development is all about like business retention, filling vacancies, um, pretty much the day-to-day business.
Helping them with holding classes like we had yesterday, coffee with friends on interns, or the crime prevention meetings, or yeah, just reaching out to businesses if they have problems, especially like last year was the PPP loans
Yes,
and stuff like
was-
that. So that's all economic.
That's how we remained essential, was
Yes.
writing letters for PPP loans.
Yeah.
And then organization is all about marketing, whether it's marketing the downtown as a whole or marketing businesses individually, cost effectively. So we'll get into that next week. Here is everyone's contact information. If you're interested in joining the design committee, you can reach out to Chet or Diane or I, and we can get you information on that. They meet the
Second Wednesday
second Wednesday at
at around
9 a.m.
8:30, 9 o'clock, depends.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually no later than 9. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's stop the share. And it's still just us in there, so we don't have any questions.
Okay.
So we will see you next week at 10. We'll go back to 10 o'clock.
Yeah, thank you for changing.
Yes, no problem.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one.
Bye.
Bye.